But mobilization is the first step in this process. I see this as a necessary first step in the right direction. Obviously, if it just stops there, then it's nothing. It's just a way for people to yell at an administration that's not listening. But clearly, the administration is listening. Clearly, they don't like it. So even the reaction coming from the right shows that they are fearful. All right, let's get to the No Kings protest once again. Where the heck is it? All right, these are all here. First and foremost, Donald Trump, as we covered when he first posted this, Donald Trump is a child. He has a child's brain. Many Americans have children's mindsets. We already know this, but there's perhaps no better evidence of this reality than Donald Trump's AI shenanigans. Donald Trump, this past weekend during the No Kings protest, posted this AI video where he is flying a fighter jet. I'm just going to show you the video itself, okay? That's right. That's Donald Trump dumping fecal matter from a fighter jet while wearing a crown on top of a bunch of protesters in New York led by friend of the show, Harry Sisson. This, of course, made me feel some type of way because Harry Sisson, in spite my best attempts, has gotten the Trump notice before me. Very up. It led me to spiral. It caused me to think, am I washed? How is this possible? How is it that Harry Sisson would get the Trump notice before me? Diaper dumping Donnie. Yeah, I can't believe Harry Sisson got pooped on by Donald Trump before me. I have felled off. Okay, I have felled off. It's very clear. But anyway, Harry Sisson then posted, can a reporter please ask Trump why he posted an AI video of himself dropping poop on me from a fighter jet? That would be great. Thanks. To which J.D. Vance replied to Harry saying, I'll ask him for you, Harry. Because this administration is run by morons. Childish morons. Okay? What are we doing? What are we doing? How is this? Like, this is the most powerful country on the planet still. Okay? Think about that. I'm not like Mr. Institutionalist, okay? I am not. Why are you mad Trump ain't shit on you? I'm just a little mad because Harry Sisson got the notice before me, but that's like me just memeing. I'm more so mad about the fact that this is what the administration is doing. And I'm doubly mad that while this is what the administration is doing, okay, the reception on actions like this, no matter how childish it is, no matter how stupid it is, no matter how silly it is, no matter how much this is supposed to highlight how little they are doing, how little the Republicans are doing to solve any of the financial crises that average Americans are experiencing, the base seems to love it. Do you understand? The base for Donald Trump loves this shit. I look at this and I think, oh my God, how can the Democrats be losing to this? Okay? This should be a moment of self-reflection, self-criticism, and to instantly change everything that the Democrats have done so far. You should be looking at this and going, how the did we get here? Okay? How is it possible to lose to this? We have a million different severe crises in this country, and one of them, I think, is the anti-intellectualism that has run amok. Okay? Like Donald Trump is gutting SNAP benefits and subsidies for Medicaid. His administration at a time when people are like really suffering from the cost of living crisis is making things more costly for the average American. And all they need to do is just like meme like this. And the base goes, hell yeah, brother. Yeah, as long as you're locking up Mexicans. As long as you're locking up Mexicans and doing this kind of funny, haha, Hakeem Jeffries is a Mexican AI videos, I'm with you, brother, all the way. This should be an opportunity to highlight the lack of interest in the administration in solving any of these like material problems for the Democrats. The Democrats should be using this as a opportunity to radicalize the base further, to actually pull some of these Republicans away from the Trump administration, away from the MAGA movement, to be like, dude, these guys are deeply unserious. They don't give a shit about you. Oh God, I love me some hogs, baby. When are you going to thank Trump for freeing Palestine? Oh God, beautiful. Beautiful oinking piggies in my chat. I get so excited at this. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. When he actually liberates Palestine, I will thank him. Okay? In any case, they take more to give their kids more. Can Americans just be adults and not rely on politicians on what to think? That's just not how it works. People need leadership, okay? And it's very obvious that there's a severe gap or there's a severe leadership crisis on the left flank in our current existing duopoly between the Democrats and the Republicans. The Republicans are just like memeing and shifting people's priorities away from the things that actually matter while worsening their living standards and living conditions. And the Democrats are seemingly incapable of addressing that. That's a major problem. People need to be directed. People need to be led. Because if you don't do that, then there's just a lot of anger and a lot of animosity and a lot of resentment that's just out there with no productive output. Okay? That is my anger and my resentment on this story. But that was not the only thing that happened with the No Kings rallies. Obviously, the No Kings protest took place. The largest single-day protest in American history, which is pretty crazy, all around the country. A total of, I believe, 7 million people, many of which were actually boomers, as a matter of fact, took to the streets to express their discontent for as long as they can.
Americans came together across the country on Saturday to protest against the Trump administration. The No Kings movement, as they call themselves, claims our country is in danger of sliding into dictatorship. Torian Small reports now from Washington, where hundreds of thousands gathered.
From Times Square to L.A., millions turned out for the No Kings Day of protests, pushing back against what they call abuse of power by President Trump.
This is what democracy looks like. We don't like what's happening under the current government.
Demonstrators called out Trump's policies, including his crackdown on immigration, domestic use of the military, and environmental rollbacks. In D.C., 22-year-old Eva Menaggio said she felt the day was about unity, not hate.
Everything here is so beyond positive. Like right over there's a dance party going on. I don't know how anyone could say this is a hate America rally.
Dude, this is my favorite thing, by the way. Another hog take, or at least someone who's been duped. No one in the chat has formed a thought on their own in the last few months. Why did they show clips from 2017? I love this because, one, he just immediately goes, everyone here is sheep. Unlike me, I fell for a lie that someone told on Twitter. Okay? I know exactly what this guy's talking about. There was a lie that was circulating on Twitter about how like MSNBC actually showed a previous protest from 2017 with the aerial footage, and it actually wasn't the current protest in Boston. Okay? I don't know why they chose to lie like that. Okay? I don't know why they chose that particular Boston protest to claim it was actually false. I mean, I get the energy behind it. Like it was clear that like someone felt insecure, some Republican felt insecure. I don't know where the lie was conceived initially. But Grok has once again misled ex-users by falsely claiming that this viral video of crowds yesterday at No Kings protest in Boston, which ran on Ali Velsh's program on MSNBC, is from 2017. This has led some users genuinely believing that the video is old, but Grok's assertion is incorrect. The video was filmed during yesterday's protest in Boston. The exact same aerial view of the crowd can be seen in multiple other videos of the protest in Boston posted by local news outlets yesterday. Reverse searching multiple frames from the clip brings no results earlier than yesterday, which means that the clip isn't old and first appeared online yesterday. Okay. Breaking. Analysts are calling this the biggest protest in American history. It's far bigger than any rally Donald Trump has ever had. This is Boston. Rallies like this are just happening in cities big and small all around the country. Let's go. It was huge. And I guess like people felt some type of way. They felt like kind of insecure about how big the protests were, even though like the New York protests were also massive as well. Bro fell for the rage bait. Wait, what? What do you mean? No, you fell for the rage bait, I think. Are you now just saying you were pretending? Is that what it is? Really? That's what we're doing? We're backpedaling? That's funny. Oh, I was just pretending to be... I was just pretending to be stupid, dude. I got you. Anyway, I think this story is actually more consequential because of the misinformation. And the reason why I say that is because, like, while this guy is obviously feeling a little embarrassed by it, and that's the reason why he's like, I was only pretending, dude. You know, while his opinion is obviously obviously irrelevant, there are a lot of people who thought that this was fake. Okay, there were a lot of people who thought that this was fake. I don't know what this is. I don't know why you're showing me this. Anyway, and it's really wild. It is really wild to me that you can have journalists directly broadcasting from a massive protest, and you can have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people arrive at an area, and then people online could just say it's fake, and then that's all it takes. Like, I don't know how many people actually went there, okay? I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but it seems like, you know, tens of thousands, if not 100,000 people are in this like massive area, which means that they were there. They were there. They can like confirm it. And yet on the internet, you can just say, nah, this shit is fake actually, because you're biased and you personally believe that it's impossible to get this many liberals to be offended enough by the administration that they're actually going to go and participate in a mass mobilization initiative such as this one. And that's all it takes for people. They go, nah, it's fake. And I think we're in a very dangerous place right now. We're in a very dangerous place because people refuse to think critically about this stuff. Like, your own personal biases online are way more important than like than reputable outlets giving you real-time coverage of events that are taking place. I don't know how to deal with that. If we do not have a established mechanism of discerning truth, if we don't have like a reality that everyone is on board with, there is no consensus truth. There is no consensus reality. People can just literally say, nope, I don't believe it. And if enough people, given their political biases, can decide what you can see with your own two eyes is actually fake, we are extra. I don't know how we move on from this. I don't know how we redesign a functional society if a decent chunk of the population decides like what I can see with my own two eyes must be fake because it makes me feel bad to think that it's real. Add to that how easily artificial intelligence chatbots can also continue this malicious framing, like Grok, right? And you're cooked because people would rather trust Grok than they would trust their own two eyes and their own brain to think critically. I don't know what to say. It looks like X admitted it misled its users within hours by late afternoon, October 18th, after cross-referencing with BBC Verify's real-time analysis and additional sources like the AP and Reuters footage. I issued an updated response. Upon further verification, this video is authentic footage from October 18, 2025, Boston protest. Crowd estimates from multiple outlets, including drone imagery, placed the attendance at 20,000 to 30,000. My prior assessment was based on incomplete initial data. Apologies for the error. The correction was posted directly on X and pinned to relevant threads. Except it's too late because a lot of people already ran with it because it corresponded to their biases. The initial bias there is there's no way this many liberals showed up against Donald Trump because Donald Trump is the best president of all time. If you're MAGA and you're online, as many extremely MAGA people are extremely online, you go, oh, there's no way this many libtards showed up. Okay? There's no way this many people hate my big, beautiful president. They must see it in the same way that I see it. So when reality doesn't match their expectation, they go, I don't want to believe this. And they will grab onto anything that tells them, you're right. Actually, this was fake. You're right. Actually, this was from 2017. And not a single person even needed to massage the narrative by like trying to find an alternative. No one even came up with like what protest from 2017 this actually was. They didn't even do that. They just simply said, this is fake. It's from 2017. And everyone went along with it because they wanted to believe it. Okay? They wanted to believe that this is a lie. They wanted to believe that this many people didn't show up. And then once they are met with the truth once again, and people go, you're wrong. This is just not how it is. What the f*** are you talking about? They just double down. They just double down and go, okay, well, or they say, oh, I was just rage baiting. This is a terrifying prospect for the future of this country and for the future of the planet, really. I don't know how we bring back critical thinking for every single human being in this country, but it is a necessity. I think Ted Cruz repeated it to respond to Elizabeth Warren, but deleted it already. Now, this also is a byproduct of like people spending more time on the internet than they do in the real world, right? And what I mean by that is if all of the back and forth communication is happening online, or if most of it is happening online rather than the real world, and you have no interest in going outside and checking the temperature, right? And you are much more, you have this high proclivity to lean into your biases, okay? And you find yourself in this like funnel of radicalization, then the real world might as not matter. If we are just always online, then the shit that people make up online is more important than the truth. It becomes the truth. Because there is, like I said, a necessity for a consensus on what the truth is. And while Ted Cruz deleted this tweet, it seems, or it's still up, why are Dems dishonestly sending around a video from 2017 claiming it was this past weekend? It's got 15,000 likes. Boston has been defying King since we threw the tea into the harbor in 1773.
Millions of people across the country marching as we speak against the policies of President Trump. This is Boston. Look at that. We'll continue to follow these rallies throughout the day here on MSNBC.
I don't know why they chose Boston. I don't know why they chose Boston to say it's wrong. Rage baiting, by the way. Oh, he's still at it. Because you know you are wrong, Mongoloid. Wait, what? He wasn't rage baiting. Oh, that's so surprising. Why do you still live in the USA if it is so shit? Can we watch some ISIS videos? Well, when are you? No one in this chat has formed a thought. Why do you show clips from 2017? We showed that it's not from 2017. He goes, Lemau, bro, fell for the rage bait. This many. A country of 300 million could muster 30K at most. Omega lol. Well, I did. No one take pictures of the other protests then? You could just answer my question. First of all, not only did I attend personally the Los Angeles one, but I covered all of the different protests that took place all around the country. And there were massive protests happening all around, numbering around 7 million. That is the largest single-day protest in American history. Now, will it be consequential? Will it actually change anything? I think it's the beginning of change, okay? But notice how he went from, oh, I'm just rage baiting you, when he was, yeah, the left is the easiest to rage bait. Again, he's doing it again. Brother, are we the ones that are being rage baited? Or are you actually angry as you chose to come into this community. You chose to come into this community and chirp. You got called out for lying about something so easily disprovable. You felt embarrassed enough to actually go, I was just pretending. I was just trying to troll. And then you kept doubling down and tripling down. First you moved the goalpost by saying, oh, it's 300 million people. I can't believe they mustered only 30K in Boston. The notion that like they were supposed to bring 300 million people to Boston. Incredible stuff. Thank you. Okay. And then you said, well, did no one take pictures of the other protests then? Once again, not realizing that, no, they did. They did take pictures of the other protests. Just because you didn't see it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And you are continuing to angrily try to respond to people. And when you're not getting the response that you want out of these people, myself included, you turn around and you hit a slur, right? You get banned for using the slur. Then I unban you and you immediately go, XD, I'm just rage baiting again. No, man, you shit your pants and everyone is telling you you're stinky and you're going, stupid libtard. I shit my pants to own you, actually. Okay, well, now you're sitting pant full of shit. You're a poopy boy. You're a little poopy boy. Everyone is pointing at you and laughing. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to be a poopy boy. You didn't have to be stinky. Now you got dookie in your drawers. Did you hear about the Tel Aviv soccer shit? Yeah, we'll talk about the Maccabi soccer shit. How did he turn so evil? Seems pretty normal at first. What do you mean? Hello, chat, I'm new. Where free college tuition is also not free. What is your take? Trump is crashing the economy. Horrible. Toyota Giga Chat. People who glorify military scares me. Why is she streaming with us on? Oh, this was Pokimane. Sent from Pokimane's channel. On the GP3. Pokimane, don't do it. Anyway, this was a good exercise in how a lot of people operate. A lot of people who think they're free thinkers. All right, well, bye, I'm out. It's getting late. My return tomorrow. Hopefully when you return tomorrow, you'll be a little bit more open-minded. Now, the thing here is, okay, a lot of people who think they're actually free thinkers are behaving like mindless sheep without realizing that they're behaving like mindless sheep, including that guy who is tuning in from Europe, which is ironic. Euro chatter LARPing as like a MAGA Republican or falling for like the dumbest the dumbest American psyop that doesn't even require much. Motherfucker who's never been to Boston, hasn't seen any of the other major protests that took place, making up his own mind because he got duped by like a bunch of right-wing accounts that simply said, this is not real, it's from 2017. This should be a learning opportunity. If you have the capacity to still feel shame, this should be an opportunity for you to go, I need to be a little bit smarter next time around. Okay? I need to be a little bit smarter next time around so I don't get so easily duped. What led me to be so easily duped? Why was I so quick to believe in this really silly narrative without actually thinking critically about it? If you do that, you won't get so easily duped next time. That's how you become a critical thinker. That's how you become an independent thinker. Okay? A lot of people who want to be free thinkers, a lot of people who fancy themselves to be like independently minded, right? Oftentimes are at the mercy of biased narratives. This is why it's very important for someone like myself to constantly cover right-wing narratives. A lot of people say, Hasan, why do you look at Fox News more than you look at like CNN or liberal media, things of that nature? It's because you need to understand how the opposition thinks. You need to understand how they arrive at the conclusions that they arrive at. It's very important. That's one of the most consequential things that I do here is that I look at propaganda from both sides. I look at what liberals are saying. I have my own personal position that I will always reveal to you ahead of time. Like I'm not shy about it. I think that's the most honest thing that you can do when you are a media figure in general. Okay. And you can make up your own minds in the aftermath of that. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people would rather have someone tell them how to think and believe in false narratives rather than actually critically thinking about these issues. I think it's a huge problem. To be fair, critical thinking requires you to pull out of your brain's default mode, and for people who aren't used to actually having to focus on something, it can be difficult. I find that as long as I hold to the bias that all humans are inherently equal, it allows me to view most things critically. Yeah. Mehdi Hassan said the same thing on the topic of how he prepares to debate MAGA. American chatter living in Germany, take a wild guess why. Do you have any advice for people like myself that are struggling with a system they can't escape regardless of how they feel about what's going on? Make friends and organize. And be the change you want to see in the world. You can do it. You can actually get a bunch of other people around you to take the initiative and slowly but surely make this change. What is this? So-called free thinkers when mom brings out a cozy blanket? What? You just wanted to show me a cat meme. It's so hard to make friends in Germany. I doubt it. Did you see Jon Stewart's writers insert a subtle Kaige reference? No. Really? That's so stupid. You're so dumb. Anyway, let's continue. So millions of people protested, but for what reason? Because a lot of people on the left were also mad. I saw a lot of people chirping on the left. Part of the reason why they were chirping on the left was because obviously a lot of these protests were very liberal coded. It wasn't actually there weren't like any sort of decipherable demands, it seems, from some of these places. Obviously this required a tremendous amount of organizing, and different local groups were participating in it, and some of the protests in different places perhaps had a different attitude towards like pro-Palestinian protesters, for example. Other places didn't do that. Other places had protests being led by anti-Zionists, right? And people were like, oh, this is just vibes. This is just vibes. This is just basically a parade, right? This is just a vibes-based thing. It's just a parade. I have a different attitude about it, okay? I have a very different attitude about it. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. I already alluded to it before while I was in the process of attending one of the protests, the one in downtown LA in Los Angeles. But I think this is a good opportunity, just like the Bernie Sanders Stop Oligarchy rallies that are taking place. A good opportunity to mobilize. But mobilization is the first step in this process. I see this as a necessary first step in the right direction. Okay? Obviously, if it's just left, obviously, if it just stops there, then it's nothing, right? It's just a way for people to yell at an administration that's not listening. But clearly, the administration is listening. Clearly, they don't like it. So even the reaction coming from the right shows that they are fearful. Okay? These protests, these non-violent protests, are the first step in organizing. And it is up to us, people who are socialists, leftists, Marxists, to try to organize people at these protests, to try to get them to move into a more reliable network of pressure, a more reliable network of pressure that will move the needle in the appropriate direction, that will pressure the Democratic Party to take more radical steps that are considered radical, that are not really radical at all when you think about it. Okay? It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen magically. But this is a good opportunity. Every liberal you talk to at these protests that demand more from the Democratic Party is a liberal that you can communicate with, is a liberal that you can be like, listen, there is an alternative out there, okay? There is an alternative out there. There is a different way to try to make sure that we keep up the pressure and we set clear-cut demands against the administration, and we have some sort of mechanism to show the administration that we are an undeniable force, that there are more of us than there are of them, okay? This is an opportunity to recruit. And before people say, well, okay, you get them signed up in the DSA, but the DSA is also electoralist and it actually is a reformist institution, it's revisionist, and it doesn't matter. All they want to do is just like elect new Democrats. These things take time. Even if you are a revolutionary vanguardist Marxist-Leninist who believes that there must be a militant response, okay? In the absence of class consciousness in this country, and in the absence of the language of revolution in this country, many people who might even have that kind of attitude, who might even come to that recognition, are not going to realize it if you're sitting at home tweeting, okay? It's that simple. It's that simple. And it might not happen today, and it certainly might not happen tomorrow. But as long as you are still moving the needle in the right direction, as long as you are still designing the future for the next generation to take over and to seize the opportunity, you're doing the right thing. And you have to keep pushing. You have to keep up the pressure. This is why I kept saying throughout the entire last 2 years of Israel's seemingly unstoppable genocide. Go recruit some new Hassan cult members, lost too many during Collargate. I know, it's really devastating. Throughout the last 2 years of unstoppable genocide, I kept saying, this is not the time to stop. This is not the time to succumb to nihilism. This is a time for revolutionary optimism to keep up this pressure. If this pressure went away, you would be giving in to some of the worst scumbags. If you can't find that energy from within to do the right thing because change seems impossible, then you should remember that they want you to stop. You should always remember that you can be vindictive, and that can also motivate you as well. Some of the worst scumbags want you to give up. Some of the worst scumbags want you to shut the f up. Okay? That's it. If you only believed what you preach, says Maximum Ape. Yeah, I know. If only I was a real one. Well, I guess I'm a fake one. What does that say about you? Let's continue.
Many Republicans called it exactly that, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, who described the protests as anti-American. But not everyone at the rally supported the theme.
Well, I basically like the direction that we're going under the Trump administration. I want to hear everybody's voice. That's why this way.
I love the median voter, bro. I love the average Trump guy. Okay, I love the average Trump guy who's like, well, I got to hear him out. I love that. I love that guy.
Know what's real.
The president trolled demonstrators with social media posts, including this AI video of himself flying a fighter jet and dropping brown sludge on protesters.
It wasn't brown sludge. It was poop. It was dookie. It was dookie, man.
Spoke with reporters last night.
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great.
For CBS Mornings, Torian Small in Washington, D.C.
I feel like No King's a bit of a leftist litmus test. Like, if you think hating everything and being hypercritical of people who are liberal anti-fascists is a way to reserve revolutionary purity, that's just silly. 100%. And this is like, ironically enough, this is what was like kind of blackpilling for me the other day when I was like complaining and being like, oh my God, the left is just like so unbearable. I hate the left. I hate socialism. You did it. Remember that like little rant that ironically enough, everyone online thought was because of like Kaya or something and had nothing to do with that. It was just like me doing political commentary about the left's inability to seize the moment and seize the opportunity to move the needle in the appropriate direction. Had nothing to do with like drama slop or anything like that. And it was really funny. People are like, oh, he's crashing out. Like his own fan base hates him because of we got to him. His own fan base hates him because of Kaya or whatever the it's so stupid. People are so dumb sometimes and so easily susceptible to stupid ass narratives. It was actually about not even necessarily about Graham Plattner, but more so about how like hypercritical leftists oftentimes will just like write off people for wrongs that they've committed in the past without actually recognizing that like you need to win everybody. Okay. You need to win as many people as possible to your side. The reason why I always go back to Gaza on this front is because there has been some success in this initiative, and that success happened after decades of no movement whatsoever. Okay, like you have to get every single person on your side. It's that simple. There's no other way to win. Do you think MAGA Republicans shy away from people when they go, I don't know, this guy might be a woke pussy libtard actually? No, they don't. They love it. They love it when like some weirdo is outed for like being a rapist and then goes, oh, I'm Christian now and I love Donald Trump. And they're like, oh, hell yeah, brother. Welcome to the battle. Now, I'm not saying we should do the same thing. Okay. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you have to understand, if like people are sincerely making change within themselves, if people are sincerely coming to your side, there is no, like, you are not serving anybody if you are just immediately casting them aside and saying, nope, you're imperfect or you've done horrible things in the past. You. Okay. Obviously, people will grift, but trust me, they're not grifting to the left. You need to understand that. Maybe in the future, if there is a real sea change and we go back to peak woke or something, maybe then you'll see people grifting to the left. But even then, at most, grift to liberalism and not to the left. No one grifts to the left. Okay? Everybody hates the left, including leftists. That's it. We need to stop being so purity driven. It's not. It's poisonous for organizing. It's poisonous for bringing people on board. We just have like there's a reason why a lot of people associate us with like hyper woke, annoying nuisances. Okay. It's just silly. It's silly. Bring people on board. Okay. Always be accepting of those who are open-minded. You are not cooler than anybody else because you arrived at this position before anybody else did. Okay. And at most, and this is something that I've said so many times throughout my professional broadcasting career, and I can't believe I constantly find myself repeating this. Okay. No one is born perfect. No one is born perfect. No one is born with a copy of Das Kapital, and everyone is on their own journey of learning. Okay. And you have to always factor in the social environment that people are brought up in and what they perceive to be right and what they perceive to be wrong. And if you, for example, immediately go, oh, every veteran is a child annihilator, f them, you literally are just writing off so many people without even factoring in how the average American perceives them. Okay? You are so echo chambered that you cannot see the world outside of your immediate circle of friends. You have to always have a broader outlook. You always have to understand like how people arrive at their positions they've arrived at. Okay. And you have to be as charitable as you possibly can be until someone shows you that they are not to be trusted. Okay. You just got to chip away at it slowly but surely. It always goes back to the same thing I always say: be normal, be normal, be normal, be normal, be normal. Okay? Be normal and understand that everyone has a different starting point. Everyone has different opinions. You need to have a better, broader outlook. Okay? Just accept that a lot of people just don't like veterans. That's not true. Where? That's literally untrue. That's not even true in this community, okay? That's not true for me. That's not true for my community. And that's certainly not true for the broader outlook. That's not true at all. The notion that many people don't like veterans is so silly. What are you talking about? This is exactly what I'm saying. It's true for me, Lamau. Exactly. Just get your head out of your ass, chatter. What the fuck? Dude, the best example for this is not even veterans. The best example for this is cops, okay? The best example for this is cops. In the real world, people love cops. Americans love cops. Okay? It's even it's with respect to like the output and what the position requires. Okay? It is literally a domestic militant force that is unaccountable and untrained, or at least only trained to do violence. And yet the approval ratings for police is so high. Okay? Wake up. You have to be normal when you're having these conversations. And the approval rating for veterans is even higher than that. It's ridiculous. The notion that like Americans don't actually show even a fake form of reverence for members of not only law enforcement but like the military is ridiculous. Anyway, if social conditioning wasn't such a formative tool for the powers, the powerful institutions that want to yield certain results, then the military wouldn't be recruiting in underserved neighborhoods from middle school and onward. Okay, that's it. You need to check your circles, fam. Real world people hate cops. Cops even hate other cops. LMFAO. Seems like your real people are bougie 1%ers and not poor people. Dude, I hate cops. Okay. I have more smoke for law enforcement than I do for veterans. And what you fail to consider is while I don't love policing as an institution and what it does, I'm still cognizant of the fact that the average normie does not think that way at all. They think cops are literally diving in front of rapist penises to stop rapes from happening, when in practice, it is the exact opposite. Either they themselves are legally committing rapes in many different states where they can straight up sexually assault people that they've apprehended legally. Mind you, New York State only recently made it illegal for cops to do that, only a couple years ago. But also there's a major rape kit backlog. They are notoriously bad at investigating. Their clearance rates are dog shit, but most Americans don't understand that. Okay? But if you across the board run around with this kind of attitude, you're too libbed up. Oh my God. Oh, this is why I always say it's impossible not to get black pilled when the people you encounter in the real world have opinions that you would consider to be inherently reactionary and fascist, like straight up fascist. If this is your norm, I'm trying to bring people back into the real world in the most hyper online place possible. We are not living in reality. We like to make fun of the Republicans who also are hyper online and not living in reality, but we also do the same thing, just in the woke and leftist position. If you're a hedge fund manager or a billionaire, that's one thing, but being poor doesn't make you better. Conservatives love to be like, poor people are conservative, like that's a good thing. We should want everyone to have the ability to get a real living wage. I don't know. Most leftists in chat are unbearable, to be honest, not gonna lie. I mean, yeah, that's just what it is. All right, whatever. Anyway, let's continue with this story because I think it's I'm getting derailed once again. But the reason why I was talking about this, Gallup polling on confidence in police around 40 to 60% depending on demo. Yeah, if you were, exactly, that's my point, is 60%, I'm pretty sure. But like the majority of people have confidence in policing as an institution, even if they think that they go out of hand from time to time. That's the norm. That's the normal person's position in general, okay? It's the same reason why if you like talk to an older black person, sometimes they'll be like, yeah, we want cops. We just want cops to do the job instead of doing whatever the they're doing. That's what I say all the time. I'm like, make the police actually do their jobs, please. Do your job. Do your job. In theory, there's a reason why it says protect and serve the community, right? On the side of the squad car. But they're not doing that. That's the problem. They're an abject failure at every step of the way, which is precisely why the institution needs to be dramatically restructured. That is my attitude on this. And I've said it a million times over, and yet people seem to not understand that this fundamental principle, okay? Yeah, they protect and serve the cop community, and they protect and serve capital, not the people. And that is, I mean, historically, that's always been the case as well, for the record. Having said that, the reason why I'm talking about this is specifically because of how at odds leftists are at times with normal folk, okay? And you can't be, especially because the environment is designed against us, okay? The media landscape is designed against us. The political landscape is designed against us. We have to be extra careful and extra considerate when we are presenting our positions. Okay? It's that simple. We're always playing on hard mode. And that is precisely the reason why, while we're playing on hard mode, we have to make sure that we're being super deliberate with our messaging. And we don't have, Hasan, you say that, but you don't do it yourself. This is really interesting that you say this because I do this. This is part of the reason why I have been able to have such a large community as someone who is a leftist. So there are still plenty of people that understand this message. This is what I've been repeating. This is what I've been repeating from the start. Okay. So unless you can present me an example where you think I've failed on doing this, you know, like even the very fact that I'm approaching what you're saying sincerely is an example of this. And sometimes it actually gets out of hand. Come on, though, you very often do or say things that that really paint the movement in a bad light. And I know it's super difficult. Again, instead of vague generalizations gesturing towards whatever drama slop tubers have said about me, explain the actual, give me a real example, right? This also unironically creates a unique environment where like I do end up getting stun locked and people get mad at me for responding to people like this. But once again, you're not doing it. You're just vaguely gesturing at like vibes overall. Explain what you mean. Explain what you mean. Please elaborate. Anyway, while we wait, let's hear from Donald Trump on the No Kings rally. What's your response to the protest? He goes, who are you with? That's his first thing.
What's your response to the protest over the weekend, the No Kings protest?
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out.
Yeah. That's why I pooped on them. Did you see the AI video? It was awesome. It was so funny. I shit on them. I pooped on them super hard. It was very good and very funny. You should poop on them too.
The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
Brother, 7 million people is perhaps the closest you can arrive at like representative of the country. Okay? That is insane. That is crazy. That's a ton of people, man. Are you kidding me? Yeah. No, it's just small. It's tiny. George Soros paid all of them. Anyway. That's like more than half of Canada. No, that is a very significant number of people that mobilized. And yes, in U.S. history, I believe it's the largest number of single day mobilizations that took place. Now, obviously, this is the first step. Okay. By the way, when asked for an actual example, this person just went quiet. It's crazy. If it's this difficult for you to come up with an actual example that you don't have top of mind, okay? If you like, oh no, he said that's fair. There are a lot of slop tubers that do drama regarding what I'm talking about, but the younger generations consume stuff like crazy, and it does have a tangible impact on how the left and socialism is perceived. If you get clip farmed all the time, this is what people see. By the way, this is my first time commenting here, so this is a lot for a first time. So it is actually drama slop tubers that you are saying people are getting duped by. Okay. Right-wingers constantly come after me as well. Yeah. Don't you think that that's completely beyond my control, but it does have an impact? Brother, it has an impact because you're letting it have an impact. You're literally saying people don't have the capacity to critically think. So you just get clipped out of context. So I'm saying, well, you do have to be careful. Chatter. Let me ask you something. Given the format that I exist in, the medium that I exist in, where I have constant back and forth correspondence with random people, yourself included, okay, in a highly contentious political environment, don't you feel as though it's virtually impossible not to get clipped out of context if people have that ambition? Especially if they're financially incentivized to continue doing this notion that, like, you know, anyone who is nominally leftist is represented by the worst clips that we have gathered of Hasanabi Piker. Don't you feel like the real problem in that regard is not someone who is getting clipped out of context, but the people that are doing that malicious clipping, think. Okay. But you're not actually saying the problem is that people are clipping you out of context. You're saying the problem is you are getting clipped out of context. It is impossible for me not to get clipped out of context. Anyone and everyone, if given enough scrutiny, especially in this format, could get clipped out of context all the time. No matter how careful I am about the way I communicate my desires, the way I communicate my worldview, people are always going to find a way to bastardize that position. And they do with regular frequency. There's not really much I can do about it other than hope and pray that people actually come here to make up their own minds. And you still have yet to give me one clear-cut example of what you mean. Notice how you still are vaguely gesturing to, drama slop tubers instead of actually saying, here is a moment that you were clipped out of context. You have not given me an actual example. I'm not treating you as though you're operating in bad faith, by the way. I need you to understand, I think you are coming in here in good faith and you're saying, oh, well, you make the left look bad. Yeah, because the right-wingers and people who present themselves as apolitical centrists often see me as a really good way to disparage the entire leftist movement by doing that. Look, come on, though. You very often do or say things that really paint the movement in a bad light, and I know it's super difficult. That's how we started this conversation. For example, yeah, look, for me, the way I see it is, like, look, the reason why I have all these crosshairs is because I am the largest left-wing content creator in North America as it stands. Okay, if it wasn't me and if it was someone else, they would be getting hit in the same way. It's just that simple. And this doesn't exist just within the confines of like political commentary. It's just that political commentary and streaming, when you're in the intersection of both streaming and political commentary, it happens with alarming frequency. Okay, that's it. And the best I can do is recognize that this is just an unfortunate byproduct of what I do and the medium, and continue speaking the truth, continue saying how I feel about these issues. And if open-minded people like yourself come in here and try to scratch the surface beyond the negative framing, then they can arrive at their own conclusions and realize maybe these guys weren't right. That's it. And this is why I gift you every month. Hell yeah. That's why the Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. But the one thing that I always bring up, is you can't control how other people narrate your worldview. Okay? You just can't do it. You just have to hope for better judgment. It is what it is. It's a difficult undertaking, but that's why I do the things that I do, whether it be collaborating with other communities and doing things outside of the scope of politics so that people are more susceptible or more charitable to what I have to say instead of seeing it in the most negative framing over and over again, which you can very easily be pummeled by. Anyway. More racist group chats leaked in Politico. Oh, Jesus.
By the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country.
Oof, that is loud. That's what a king would say. YouGov has 9% of respondents said that they went. 18% all Democrats. That's just massive. Do you know someone who participated in the No Kings protest on Saturday, October 18th? Yes, including me, 9%. Yes, but not me, 24%. No, 56%. Not sure, 11%. Do you approve or disapprove of the No Kings protest held nationwide on Saturday, October 18th? Strongly approve, 36%. Some would approve, 12%. Some would disapprove, 9%. Strongly disapprove, 23%. Not sure, 21%. I mean, these numbers might come across as small, but they're actually pretty significant, okay? Because this is the entire population, okay? This is 2,000 adults surveyed. Obviously, it's a very good sample size. That's a huge percentage of the population. If you look at the estimated turnout per capita, it seems 1 out of every 153 people in California participated in this protest. Nebraska was the most sparsely attended, with 1 out of every 4,000 people. Oklahoma, 1 out of every 1,793 people. South Dakota, 1 out of every 1,693 people. Okay. But you look at Montana, 1 out of every 65. That's crazy. The success of mobilization is not measured by its approval rating, though, for sure. Absolutely. But I do think this is a good sign. In Vermont, 1 out of every 23 person participated in this. The reality of the matter is you never get this level, this high of a participation for a protest. Like, that's crazy. Because protests are a fraction of the people that go out and vote, for example. Okay? This is huge. It's the first step, but it was a necessary first step. And if it stops here, then it's a failure, for sure. It can't stop here. This is an opportunity to organize, okay? Because power never concedes without demand. But aside from the demand, we also have to show that we have power as well. And as the large majority of the population, if not almost 90+% of the population, are actual wage laborers, that is the only point of pushback that we have. Okay? Which actually is a good opportunity to talk about Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson.
My ancestors, as slaves, can lead the greatest general strike in the history of this country, taking it to the ultra-rich and big corporations. We can do the same today.
Look, you might not like Brandon Johnson. You might have your disagreements with him. Some people do. A lot of people do. He is not very popular in Chicago, from what I understand. And he is definitely significantly held back by the incredibly corrupt local Chicago political system as well, with the alderman structure that they have there, basically being like a mafia style system. Having said that, it is still very important for notable political figures such as the goddamn mayor saying the quiet part out loud like this. Okay? Because this galvanizes people, this emboldens people, this makes people recognize that there are more tools in the tool belt than what they previously thought. Because a lot of those people want change. They're not out in the streets because they just wanted to hang out with some other people, okay? They're out in the streets because they are experiencing discontent and they want to express dissent. So it is important for our leaders to then turn around and say, hey, you're pissed off, I'm pissed off, we got to do something about it. What can we do about it? First, we must organize. Then we must mobilize. The first step is taking this large crowd and trying to get them to work within their own communities, set up defense networks. The second step is to make sure that they are unionizing, make sure that they have a structure where they can actually engage in collective bargaining, engage in work stoppages if necessary. Okay? Because that, at the end of the day, is the only tool that the working class has at their disposal.
White people, brown people, Asian people, immigrants, gay people from around this country to stand up against tyranny and to bring a clear message to the ultra-rich and big corporations. We are going to make them pay their fair share in taxes to fund our schools, to fund jobs, to fund healthcare, to fund transportation. Democracy will live on because of this generation. Are you ready to take it to the courts and to the streets?
right? When we're seeing just the depth of the attacks that are happening, trying to roll back all those gains that were won through past struggle, you know, that you were talking about. And they're not going to win. They're not going to do it. This crowd out here is showing why they're not going to do it.
It's our money. It's supposed to go to us. And so when we go on a general strike, we're basically saying we want our money to go back to us. We want our power to go back to us, not to these fascists.
Yep. Hasan Reaction is one of the best ones in the React channel.